Hey, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the third episode with our very special guest, Mel. Very pumped to have you here, Mel.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and our two of our regulars, CLFurlong and the Disgruntled Octopus. He might unmask himself a bit later, I'm hearing. Saw over on Instagram, so we'll see what happens. I'm not sure. What do you reckon, Octopus?
I think it might be on the cards.
Woohoo!
I don't know who this octopus is that you keep talking about.
we might see his face and like, no, put it back on, put it back up.
You might be seeing that I've got longer hair than you.
That's true. That's true.
Yours is getting pretty long, Chris.
It is. I've got it in a ponytail at the moment just because I've been out and it was windy, so it's always a pain. But I don't know, I've got to the point where it's kind of like, I don't want to, like, people are like, aren't you going to cut it? And I'm like, well, I haven't really thought it through yet, but I'm like, I'm not ready to get rid of it either. So it's kind of like, I don't know where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I'm too fat to cut mine. I cut my hair and shave my beard, and I just look like the little fat kid from Hey Dad. That if there's anyone here that's under 40 years old, that's a pretty old reference, by the way.
Oh man!
But yeah, let's get stuck into it. Mel, you were just telling us in the chat before, you've been pretty bloody crook the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've been really crook with COVID, but I'm feeling a bit better now. I was telling Wayno that I keep feeling like I need a nana nap about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm trying not to do the nana nap because I don't want to fall into that habit. But I've been feeling, I've still got a bit of a lingering cough, and I was definitely still a bit tired, but I'm feeling way better than I were.
Yeah, and I was just telling Mel that I usually do have a nana nap about 4 o'clock every afternoon.
I was like, I don't want that habit. I might keep it if I do.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Have you guys had it, Chris and
No.
Octopath?
Surprisingly, I've had cold, I've had the man flu, but I haven't had it, which I'm totally blessed to say that. But it's still pretty scary to think about, right? Because you don't want to wish it on anyone, and it's always scary to hear when someone has it or something like that. So no, I've had a good run.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Octopuses don't get it, mate.
You're immune. It's hard to catch it in the ocean when it's airborne.
Well, that's right, mate. It washes away pretty quick.
Yeah, I haven't had it. I did get tested for it, and if the test was negative, but I'm not 100% sure the test was right because I was that bloody sick it wasn't funny. So
I don't think they're all that accurate. I know a lot of people who have had falses to start with, and yeah, I think if you really you need my family did like 6 tests. Like I think my daughter did 6 tests because she was still sick while I was, and they were all coming back negative. But she had like 6 tests.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like some of a friend of mine's daughter's had it twice, and none of the other family members has caught it. They all live in the same small house together.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
I've had my barber catch it twice.
Sorry,
my barber caught it twice.
Your barber?
Yeah, you probably wouldn't know what that is, Wayno and Chris.
No. How often do octopuses have to get their hair cut?
This hair doesn't grow itself, mate. Look at it; it's beautiful.
You do have big, luscious eyebrows there.
All the better to look at you with. I'm not used to being a reverse.
Oh, good grief! We've got quite a few people in the chat. It looks like.
Yeah, we better say hello. The Aussie Tip Rat has got in first again, first time every week. How you going, mate? Jacob Lee. Rack Raiders, Legends, how you going? Jut up, my man, jut up. Raucious Reg. Poor Mel stuck with you lot. Yeah.
We took pity on her, Jutta.
Looking good, Mel. I think poor all 3 of us stuck with the octopus.
That's subjective, Wayno.
Kelly back. Scotty Garvin, stop watching maths to watch Mel.
I'll
Well
I'll
done.
put it on replay as well, Scott.
Yeah, you'll have to go and find out what bloody Olivia's up to next. I didn't say that. I don't watch it.
She's a piece of work, isn't she?
Rad and Jazz in the house. I wonder who that is.
Yeah. Who's this guy?
Looking very distinguished tonight, Octo.
It's not me. I mean, it's not him.
Lozzie. Ian, good evening all. It's this handsome. Yeah, I wonder who that is. It's okay. I'm just getting over it. Also, I am day 6. Yeah,
Day
that's like I'm glad you're getting better. Gons. I've got man flu at the moment. Had the Rona over New Year, and the man flu was worse.
Ah,
I think the only thing I ever had worse was pneumonia. When I had pneumonia,
okay.
I was
Yeah.
I was hospitalized for 9 nights when I had
Wow.
pneumonia.
Yeah.
I literally thought I was going to die. So I think that's the only time I've ever felt worse than having. Otherwise, I was right up there.
I had gland fever 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
Yep.
And it was the worst thing ever. Like I had it, I had it for a few months, but there was a 2-week period right in the middle where, my partner at the time, she said she nearly called an ambulance a few times.
Wow.
Like I couldn't have light, like any light, any sound, nothing. It was unbearable. Didn't eat for 6 days. Me.
Jeeps.
Yeah, that was pretty
All the
bad.
pubs would have fallen over.
Yes. There would have been plenty of chicken schnitzels to go around for those 6 days. Just getting over COVID here in the UK, still tired, and yes, I nap. Oh, yeah. It's the barbecue of the beaker trim.
He does. Well, here we go this way.
It's going to be a bit of Pop Hunter. Adam, hi guys, watching from Uncle Wayno's place. He's in that room there. That is my cousin Adam. He lives with me. Legend. Pete, my man Pete. Mike Bronley.
Hey.
Mr. Donaldson. Takes a while to go through, mate.
Yeah, we've got a full house tonight. This is good.
Yeah.
No.
I can hear him on the TV and through the wall.
Surround sound.
Everyone, howdy.
Everyone? All right. Well, I haven't told anyone this yet, but I have got a new little segment that I'm going to bring in. And I've stolen it from someone. I've stolen it from Gary V. So we're going to do underrated or overrated.
Ah, nice.
So I've got some reselling stuff. And then I've got some random stuff. This is really just a way for me to get my opinions out on things that I hate. So, all right. So we've got some reselling stuff and some random ones. Start with a reselling one. Removing the background in your photos. Overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Overrated.
Overrated. People in the chat can jump in the chat, say what they think as well. Daniel, good to see you, mate. Yeah, I think it's very overrated. I don't like it at all.
Waste of time.
Yep, and I started doing it with media, and my sales tanked.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
had a few people message me and say, "Can you send me a picture of the actual item?"
Yeah.
So I was
Almost
like,
too good.
yeah, I think it does depend on what you're selling and stuff like that. Chris's beanie, overrated.
I wonder who that was.
I mean, I don't know.
Depends what you want out of it. Yeah, that's true. I know.
Yeah.
Does it help with Google search? removing
No.
the background?
No, I mean, if you've got a white background, it helps with Google search, but you don't have to use like one of those freshen up apps to have like a white background.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I use
All
white. I use a white background for everything except for clothes.
Yeah.
But I don't remove it.
No, 88% of my listings are all photoshopped. Photo room.
Yeah.
Okay.
You sell a lot of new items though, so because you're selling brand new items in box, maybe that's a little bit different because it kind of looks like
maybe.
a store, maybe.
Yeah, much and much. It's probably 50-50 split at the moment.
Okay. There you go.
It's close to white. Leave it. Hassan, legend, Egon, and overrated. All right, we'll go to the next one. The next one is not reselling. Showering. I think we all know where I stand on this one. I think showering's very overrated.
But like it's weird to even say that it's underrated makes it sound like you don't like it. It's like it. There needs to be like a third one for it. It's like it's expected. Like
Yeah.
Essential.
I'm an octopus, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got to get, and sometimes you got to get the salt out. I went to the beach a couple months ago. I went to the beach, and I went in the water and stuff. A week later, I still had sand between my toes.
oh, dude, no.
I thought you were going to say you started dissolving.
Jeepers.
Definitely 2 showers a day here for me.
It's 2. I'm trying to do 2 a week at the moment.
What?
Is
this real?
I think this is new for Mel.
If Mel drops out, mate, we're you.
Yeah.
Are you like pulling my leg, or is this?
No, this is legit. This is legit.
On one of the other lives, I revealed that I recently broke my record of 18 days.
Mal's trying to be really polite and nice and not like overreact.
I'm trying to keep a straight face here,
on
mate.
the screen with an octopus and a man who doesn't shower.
It makes me look pretty good, right, Mal? Like it makes me look pretty good.
I don't know, mate. Have you seen that beanie?
I'm not wearing a beanie. Like, come on.
Well, I do when I go. Like if I go to Melbourne or something, I have a shower. But
when was the last time you went to Melbourne?
18 days ago.
Or if I go to a friend's place to visit, the problem is I never go anywhere. So, but yeah, just to catch Mel up really quickly, like I said this on the last time we were talking about it. I used to have a shower every day. The first thing I did when I got up, within 2 minutes of waking up, I was in the shower. And then when I got really sick and I was just sleeping like 20 hours a day, I just stopped showering because I didn't have the energy. And then it's just become a habit.
Oh, no.
So, and now it's turned in. I'm too busy. Like I just want to get this done, and we never end up doing it. So if I go somewhere, I do. Megan.
At least he's honest. That
is one thing you will get out of my channel. You will get 100% honesty.
If I ever come to Melbourne and we have like a reseller meetup, can you please shower before?
Well, I have told you that later in the year I want to come up to Canberra. I'm going to stop along the way, make videos and things like that. So if I take like a week to get there, probably a good chance I won't have showered for a week by the time I get there.
Set the high pressure hose in, Mel, at the border.
I feel sorry for the chat. They've come here for reselling to learn about Mal and here we are chatting about.
I know we're not even. We haven't even got
Wayno's shower habits or lack of.
Run, Mel, run. Megan wants the octopus unmasked.
Later.
Yeah, this is true. It works. Go to garage sales, everyone disappears. As soon as I walk in. All right, let's move on. The next one is having a death pile. Like I put this one up because my whole house is a fucking death pile.
I think it depends on circumstance, like, because it can be both underrated and overrated. Because it's underrated, obviously, when we were in lockdown. For those that had death piles, it was like the dream, right? Because it meant you had stock, and it was obviously a lot harder to. But when you do have it, it becomes a bit overrated because you realize it's not the stuff that you want to be listing, or it's not the the high quality stuff. So I think it's a catch-22, but sometimes when maybe you're running low on cash or whatever. I mean, I run my business in a certain way that I only spend what I earned prior to the week before. And that means you can have an off week and you can just get into the death pile. But sometimes I've gone for the death pile and realized I've got stuff in there that you list it and it sells for $60 like within 24 hours, and you're like, crap, like why did I wait this long?
I had an Xbox 360 that I paid about $80 for, sitting about 6 months, listed it and sold within 2 hours for $400.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I've got that many game consoles because I buy bundles off Marketplace. I list all the games. I can't be stuff testing it and shit. So I got tons of consoles. There's like boxes of I can't turn around. I got boxes of them over there. But yeah, I listed a few things in the past couple of weeks, and they sold for big dollars.
You might just need a shower, mate. Might loosen up everything.
Yeah.
I think like I've had a death pile for like as long as I can remember. Over like a year, I've had a storage unit full of death pile. I bought the death pile back here, and now I am almost at the end of my death pile of books. Like I still got some death pile of stuff from my hoarder's haul that's all a bit odd, but I don't want to be putting like heaps of that into my store, so I'm kind of drip feeding that in. But you know what? I don't think I ever want more than maybe a week, 10 days worth of death pile here again after having the death pile so big for so long. Like it's very overwhelming. I spend a lot of time organizing it and moving stuff around, and I don't think I want that anymore. So I probably, like, if I'm trying to list about 200 things a week, I'd probably look to have like a death pile with maybe like 200 to 300 things there. But like other than that, I don't want any anymore. And if I do have a death pile, I want to kind of rotate it. So it's not like the new stuff comes in and gets listed first. I kind of want it to be like that revolving. Even if I bring new stuff in, I want to keep listing from the stuff that's already there. I don't want to just have it sitting in boxes anymore. That's like I don't want to deal with you pile.
Yeah, like I mean, and Chris was saying before, it tends to be the crappiest stuff that's left over, but for me it's not, because it's the hardest. I just leave the hardest stuff, whether it's valuable or not. So this week I've made a massive dent, or the last couple of weeks, massive dent in my DVD death pile, which is pretty much all TV series, because there's so many discs in each one and they all need to be cleaned and stuff. It's really annoying. I just hate doing it. And so I've been listing a whole bunch of those. They're selling for like $100, $80, like $70. Like it's been really good. Like, but like I think I'm just too sort of lazy when it comes to that sort of shit. So I'm trying to get to the point where it's down to a smaller. Like I'm always going to want to have a death pile.
Because it becomes a bit overwhelming in some cases, and that's why I think, as Mel said, having that 10 days worth, if you do want to get ahead, or maybe you're about to go away, you don't have to source, you can quickly just get ahead or whatever. But then I think you start to realize it's either the stuff that you just don't like doing, but it's still worth doing when you do it, or you then start to realize it's the stuff that you would never touch again. And if you have too much of it, then it just becomes a big problem, and then it's hard to move along, right? Or it becomes extra work. So I think, and I'm reading some of the comments that are coming along the way, and there's some good perspectives on it. But obviously, I think it's also each to their own in some sense, because, depending on where you live, you might not be able to source a lot. So being able to have that build up obviously gives some huge benefits as well.
Mine's called Third Shed. I think the octopus is getting a bit hot.
Let's just hope he doesn't take off too much. Like...
I had to turn the red
Having a
light
good
on just to open
umpire.
for business.
Did I say a human hand then? Having a good unbiased inventory management system, then you'll never have a death pile. Just heaps of good shit to list.
Yeah.
That is it. I liked Scotty's one. Mine's called Third Shed.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think though, if
Yeah,
you keep buying stuff that you just sit in a pile because it's too hard or it's too much work or you got to spend too much time testing it and then you never do it, I would say don't buy that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to walk past it because I find it hard to walk past now that I'm trying to fully focus on books. I find it hard sometimes to walk past other items, but I think you're so much better off to learn to walk past things that are just too time consuming for you. And
Yeah, that's right.
then you won't get those piles of all the stuff that just sits there in the too hard basket.
Mrs. Octopus calls it, get the shit out of here.
Get it going.
Up to unmasking. I'm guilty of always listing the creamy stuff. See, I don't do that. I just do the easiest shit, and I put the hard shit aside. Like it's really dumb, really dumb. I mean, the other day, I picked up a PlayStation 4 bundle with the PS4 Pro. So actually, I'm like, I'm not going to sit this aside. This is $400. So I tested it, listed it straight away. It sold in 12 hours for $400. Like, I probably should do this more often.
Yeah.
So yeah. Next one is a bit of a cheeky one. Overrated or underrated? Country music.
So underrated, it's not funny.
No, it's bullshit. Overrated.
It's bullshit. It's not overrated or underrated. It's just bullshit.
Yeah, I probably don't listen to enough to be able to answer, I don't think.
What do you listen to, Chris?
Jeepers, if I shared my playlist, it's a bit weird. Well, I think other people
surprisingly.
But each to their own. To be honest, I don't have one thing that I listen to. A lot of the stuff when I listen to music is when I run, and when I run, I either need something upbeat or something to just get me focused. So it's a lot of different stuff. Like it's some random heck. Actually, if anyone wants to find out what I listen to, when I was interviewed by Drew and Sarah over at the Look Mum I'm Hustling podcast, they did an interview and then they actually played 3 of the songs that I always have on repeat. You can go suss it out there and get the full experience if you want.
We're good.
Bit of Cannibal Corpse on the running playlist, Chris.
It's probably the Wiggles.
I don't even know what Cannibal Corpse is. It's not the Wiggles.
I just got the best book. I just picked up the best book on my country Dolly Parton the other day. I was like, I'm keeping this book for myself.
Well, actually, I have been selling some Dolly Parton tapes, so clearly it must be pretty good. Yep,
the old Dolly, she can bring some decent money for her old stuff.
I have actually, people are just going to start to think I'm a loser, but because I'm just too honest on this channel. But I have seen Casey Chambers live, and she's bloody awesome.
I thought you were Casey Chambers, mate.
Well, it's a bit harsh for Casey.
I think Keith Urban is amazing to see live. If you ever get to go to one of his concerts and you like guitar, oh my gosh, he's just unbelievable on the guitar. Unbelievable.
It's the dog shit of the week comeback. Here we go. You'll love Cannibal Corpse. You should give it a try.
I'll have to suss it out.
Cannibal Corpse sounds about how you'd expect it to sound from the name. Here we go. Bring back Tism. The puffer fish nose. All right, next one. Positive feedback. Overrated or underrated?
I do like people telling me how good I am, so probably underrated.
Yeah.
I would say it's overrated.
Look, I think I'm starting to realize when I have to reply to people and they've said, "Oh, please make sure you've packaged it well. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do this," and I'm thinking, has this person not actually looked at my feedback? Like it represents itself, right? But I understand it also because it's that it's just that validation to know that they've told me. That way, if anything goes wrong, they realize, I told you it has to be packed right. But I think at the start it's definitely underrated because even when I buy stuff, I'm buying and looking through their feedback before I buy, depending on what the product is. Whereas once you start to if you look at someone, you see they've got 1,000 feedback and it's 100%, it's like that speaks for itself, right? So I think in that sense it helps make it easier. But it's I think depending on my mood for the week, it will be a bit of both.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have bad feedback. You can't have the negative stuff. But I think you're right. You get to a certain point, and anything over once you got 500 or so, it doesn't. I don't care. I couldn't care if I never get any more feedback, as long as I don't get the negative. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't whatever.
I won't buy off anyone that's under 30% feedback.
It's. I think it's very overrated. No one looks at positive. No one sits there and reads through your positive. It's underrated when you're starting out because you need. Yeah. If you get one negative and you've got bloody 15 positives, your percentage is shit house. Yeah. But once you get past a certain amount, it's completely overrated. You just don't need it. I have mine set to automatically reply when people leave me a positive. Everyone gets the same positive as soon as they left me a positive.
I'll occasionally respond to positive feedback through the feedback.
Yeah.
No, I mine set automatically as well. Once somebody leaves it for me, it's left for them. I don't have to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But you find if you get a negative feedback, your sales tank for a couple of days.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Pete's put in a good point though as well in his comment, and I think this is an interesting one because I do the same, right? So if you're buying a video game from someone and they only sell video games, you're safe, right? But if you look at their store and see that this is the first time they're selling video games or they haven't sold many, of course, 100%, I'm making sure they do it because you probably just paid up mega bucks for that, right? So that's right. I completely get that as well. So I think there's a case or premise to make sure you are having that conversation to validate it. Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree.
I hope people do read them over to correct. Some people leave some. I very rarely look at my feedback at all, but sometimes I'll catch some, and some people leave some hilarious feedback.
Yeah, they do. I had someone review the DVD and they gave me neutral saying, "Oh, DVD was a bit boring." Yeah. And I'm like, it's like, hang on, this has got nothing to do with me, right? And I reached out to them and they changed it, but it
was
does.
The DVD about you?
It's just, it's so frustrating when you think, seriously, you're not rating the DVD, you're rating the transaction of receiving the DVD. But anyway, it was just, you get some weird stuff and some funny ones, you really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't direct the video, mate.
I had a similar one with the cookbook, and she didn't like the recipes, and I was like, "Well, I didn't write the book. You chose it. What do you want me to do?"
Cooking with Mel.
I found since people can use a lot more characters now, I'm getting whole paragraph reviews of movies. It's like,
well, actually, you'd get some good ones just selling majority movies as well.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. All right, next one's a bit cheeky as well. Pokemon.
Oh yeah, underrated.
Overrated.
I'm wearing a Pokemon shirt. I mean, come on. It's like
I keep getting mistaken for a Pokemon.
and I've got Pokemon base. I like Pokemon's everywhere in here, so it's underrated.
I think only 10-year-old kids like Pokemon, don't they, Wayno?
Yeah.
And 4-foot midgets. I'll be good enough to say that.
What's it is? Someone didn't like the camera angle that the concert was shot in.
What the heck?
Pokemon's overrated, according to the pufferfish. 50 in, go and hit the like button when you get a chance. You get overrated. Mad Raps.
Thanks, man.
on
I've
the
got
Donkey
a.
Kong.
You can see Donkey Kong 64 on the back there, right?
Pete doesn't want to say that he thinks Pokemon's underrated.
So, Pete, we can chat offline, mate. We can talk about it. That's fine.
All right, last one. Now, this is something that me and Mel have spoken about through text a bit, and it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit controversial, sort of. People have different opinions on it.
Coming from the shower. I'm hot under the collar.
Yeah. So I left this one to last so that we could talk about it a bit. ASP. Underrated or overrated?
It's a tough one, and I it's going to be a tough one for me because I've just changed my game to focusing on 40.
Yeah, I know.
But at the same time, I'm very, very open and very clear. Like if I'm buying, that's a challenge that I've set, right? If I can buy stuff and actually it's going to move quicker, then I will buy it for less than 40 because I think the priority for me is now to make sure I'm getting profit quicker. And usually that's, it's not going to be on every single item you get. So if I can get the $40 one, it makes my time worth a bit more. But I think ASP is, once again, it can be overrated because it depends on what your business model is, right?
That's exactly right.
If I'm going and say this is my business model and that's what I'm trying to do, well then that's really important to me. But if you're just in there trying to, you're just trying to get 100 sales or $100 a week kind of thing, well then your ASP doesn't matter. It's more about quality and quantity and throughput, right? So I think it is a controversial topic because it will change as well in your process of reselling, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really overrated personally. I think it only matters, it's only relevant to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you know what you've put into it, you know how much you've spent, how much you spent on shipping, how much time you've put into it. For like my ASP is very low. It is 23, but I sell, like if I buy a big bulk lot of DVDs, I sell all the $10 ones. Like I just don't see why I wouldn't. It takes me 30 seconds to list each one. So that's why my ASP is so low. And my ASP also mostly doesn't include high postage. My postage would probably average about $3 per item. So that's right. I could be making more money than someone that's ASP is $35 or $40. So I think it's sort of just a little bit. I wish it would be good if you could just instantly have your average profit handy through the eBay app, and you could just look through it.
I've got it on my spreadsheet.
Yeah. What do you think, Mel?
Well, I mean, I run a bread and butter store, so I'm very open to selling low-end items and selling volume of it if you can. I mean, there's only two ways you can make more money on eBay. You either have to sell more items or you have to increase your ASP. That's
right.
it. That's what it comes down to. You want to make more money, they're your two options. So if you want to sell things with a lower ASP, like it's a perfectly fine business model, you just have to maybe sell more of it than somebody who's got that higher ASP. My ASP sits around nearly $29, I think, and I'm aiming for that list 30 a day with an ASP of 30, and then hopefully get to that point where I'm selling 30 a day, and if I can be listing 30 a day, selling 30 a day, and $30 ASP, I'll be pretty happy with my efforts. But I'm very I think if you're talking about ASP in terms of when people are kind of number sharing, then that's where it's a little bit tricky because you don't know everyone's business expenses that come into it. So, but it's a tricky one. It's just going to depend on what your business model is for you. Everyone's going to have a different business model, but yeah, I mean, I'm aiming for try and get mine at that 30, and I'll be pretty happy. I don't feel the need to get it to 50. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be nice to have a higher one, obviously, but I'm open to doing the bread and butter store.
Yeah. And what's ASP? ASP is your average sale price. Yeah, like, I mean, my profit margins are really good.
Yeah.
Like 23, my average postage would be about $3. Whatever the fees are out of that, maybe $2 or $3. And then all my cost of goods would easily be under $1 per item if I averaged out everything that I've got. So, like, my ASP is pretty low, but my profit margin's pretty high. So
you've got the cost of goods down. It's different if you got like a $24 ASP, but you're paying like $15 on every single item. It's not going to be great. But when you've got yours is the same. My average sale price for an item is $1 as well. So, you know, as long as you're not overpaying on your ASP and you've got that, you know, buy low, sell higher, you know.
100%.
Well, my cost of goods is pretty low because I got the red light on.
But like it's gonna change, right? And it's like for me, you know, for this year I've tried to prioritize a $40 ride. But if I get the opportunity to pick up, you know, someone's liquidating their shop and they're, you know, getting rid of 500 DVDs and I'm getting you know, less than $1 a pop, it's like 100% I'm going to jump on it because that in itself is going to enable cash flow. It's going to enable stock. And some of those, you know, you're going to get, you know, if they're big bolos, you will get a $50 one, you will get a $60 one, and the rest will just be bread and butter, right? So I think it's not that I'm saying, no, I won't touch it unless I'm making a minimum of $40. It's kind of, that's where I'm trying to focus. But at the same time, I've got a year of experience. So my previous whole of life, you know, ASP is around $30 and my average cost of good is around $4. So it's like I know what I can get from what I'm buying potentially based on the numbers and percentages of profits and fees and stuff like that. So it's kind of like I'd be stupid not to go after things that I know I can get money. And then I think maybe the other aspect of it is to think about, well, sure, I could buy an item that's going to get me $40 return, but what's its sell-through rate? Like how quickly is it going to sell, right? Because if it doesn't sell for 120 days, then I should have just spent, you know, $40 on 40 DVDs for $1, right? And I probably would have had a quicker sell-through rate or, you know, quicker cycle time. So there is a lot of context to apply to it.
And sell-through rate is actually like probably the most important thing that you've got to get up in your business. Basically, you've got to be able to make more of those sales. If you want to run a bread and butter store like Wayno is and like I am, like it's probably my average sale price is going to pretty much sit at $30. It's going to be harder for me to get that up when I'm selling a lot of $15 books amongst my mix. So it's hard for me to get it up over that $30 mark. So when it becomes like that, that means I've got to get my sell-through rate. So then you've got to be, you know, choosing your stock so that you've got better stock that sells faster.
100%. And I can see why Wayno wanted to put this one in because there's so much juice to it. Like there's no right or wrong, right? And I think that's probably the big takeaway is people that are listening, if whether you're far in the game or if you're beginning, don't get caught up on it because I think at the end of the day is understanding what are you trying to achieve, right? If it is the $100 a week, then it doesn't matter if you're doing a $40 or $10 items because you need to understand what your goal is and where your circumstance is. And I think the other thing is, you know, a lot of us all on this screen, we do share our numbers in one way or another. You know, we most of the time we're probably showing majority of the best items that we're selling, or but we're all selling cheap stuff as well, right? And it's not to say that when we sell a big item, that's not what we're selling every day either, right? It's just the big hitters. And so I think just that, you can't compare because you're not running the exact same race. We're in the same environment, but it's going to be different for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, like I couldn't care less what my ASP is, to be honest. I don't really think about it. I had a look today to see what mine was just because I knew I was going to talk about it tonight. So I didn't even really know. I knew what it was around, but it doesn't really bother me. I just know what I'm buying is going to make me, you know, so much money off how much I've spent, and that's it. So,
and
I
just know roughly I got to earn this much money a week to make, you know, like I take a 30% cut of my sales. So if I want to earn $1,000 a week profit, I have to do 3,300 a week in sales. That's it. You know, like, so if that's the bottom line that I'm aiming for, I know I got to hit that 3,300 in sales. So how am I going to do that? I got to sell more. How do I sell more? I have to buy stock that's going to sell better. I have to, be checking my prices, sending coupons, sending offers, all those things to keep trying to hit that dollar mark.
That's true.
How do you find ASP? Just go into the app and see how much money you've made over the last 90 days and how many items you've sold, and divide one into the other, and that'll be it. Pretty much. Toby's here. I did see him somewhere. How you going, Toby?
Hey, Toby.
There he is. Glad to see Mel better. It is.
Toby.
His team had a bit of a loss just before the live, so I didn't have to bring that up, but I did. Lost by 1 point.
Oh, mate! Now you're really rubbing it in for the guy.
It's funny. We've got a little bit of a punt club going, and I made a joke. We were joking about how shit Adelaide and Fremantle are. I don't think any of you guys follow AFL, do you? But anyway, we were joking about how shit both teams were, and I said, I'm going to put my weekly bet on the draw because it'll just be a shit 0-0 draw. And then it was nearly a draw. It was only 1 point. So lucky it wasn't a draw. Yeah, thanks, you bastard. Yeah, what are you going to do? ASP, total 90-day sales divided by how many sales you've made. That'll work. Sports. Overrated. I'm guessing you don't like sports, Octopus?
Oh, it's bullshit. Takes too much time away from world domination, Wayno.
Do you follow any sports, Mel?
I like sports, but I don't want to watch it 24/7, but the sports is on in my house all the time because I've got boys, so there's basketball playing in my NBA's on all the time, and my family's are Raiders supporters, so the Raiders are all the rugby league's always on here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
About you, Chris?
Nah, never been a big sports fan. I mean, I like when it's tennis, Australian Open, I'll pay attention a bit. When it gets close to the final, for AFL, I'll keep my eyes peeled. But otherwise, nah, I don't care. Don't care.
Yeah, well, I only like 3 or 4 sports, but I love them. So I think I watched nearly every game this weekend. But I did stuff my neck, so I was stuck on the couch. So
I do watch running though. I do watch running.
You watch, yeah. I mean,
like the events, like the marathons and world marathons and things like that.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything much more sickening, to be honest. I can't. I had, I still try. I try to watch your running videos, Chris, but they tend to make me a bit sick in the stomach.
I'm not forcing anyone to. That's okay.
It gets motion sickness, mate.
Yeah, yeah. I can't do it. Adam, he's a big D's fan. Made the Dogs coach lose. Yeah, that was pretty funny. So yeah, I think I wanted to also talk to you, Mel, about the whole bread and butter thing and how important it is. I think a lot of resellers really are bread and butter sellers for the most part, but I think our stores are pretty similar. I think we sort of run them pretty similar, even though you do books and I do media. Yeah, I thought we'd talk a bit about how sort of important those bread and butter items are.
Well, I think they're important. There's many reasons why I think they're important into your store, because the good thing about the bread and butter is, they help to bring. There's proven. I don't know what the actual number is, but there's proven stats that go around that the most common amount spent on eBay is like under $15 or under $20 or something. So, I think it's very important for people to have like a range of items in their store and not totally rule out the bread and butter ones. I think they do there's benefits of it. They help to bring other sales. Do you know? People don't have to think very hard when they have to spend $15 or $20. They just buy it on a whim. So then you're getting those sales. They help to bring more activity to your store, which helps to bring, future sales. But there's also benefits like with your postage and stuff. Like if you're struggling to get up onto band 5 in Australia to get up on a high postage level, well, adding in some lower end items that have a fast sell-through rate is going to get you shipping more, which is going to bring more postage discounts which is going to benefit your business in a big way as well. But I think it's really important to source things that are available in your area. Like we just don't have, and Disgruntled Octopus here, he might disagree with me because we live in the same area, but I don't think there's a huge amount of high-end really rare bolo type items where we live. Like I maybe I'm just not looking at them properly or something, but I feel like it's most of the stuff we have in our areas that are available to us need to be bread and butter sourced because the charity shops are either too high or there's just not enough of it around. So I think also source what you can get, and what's available to you will make you a big difference. Sometimes I think people are trying to choose a niche on the things that they want to sell, but if you can't buy them in your area, there's absolutely no point. So if you might want to sell designer and high-end items, but if you can't source that in your area, it's going to make it really, really hard. So sometimes you have to drop down to that bread and butter level, even if you don't really want to, because that's what's available. So
I mean, a lot of like I said before, a lot of people won't list $10 DVDs. I list them. I will not take them into account when I'm buying a bulk lot. So they pretty much have no cost of goods in a way. I make $6 out of them, and they really help keep my listings up too. Like I can list them so quick. They list them so quick, and then I've hurt my neck. So yesterday I just came in here and did 20 listings really quickly. It probably took me half an hour because I couldn't move and shit. But it normally would take me like 15 minutes, and I've just got 20 quick listings up. Like I don't even care. I don't care if they sell or not. Like I just do it because they're there. That's sort of my look on it. And at the end of the weekend, I might have 50 orders, and 10 of them might be those $10 DVDs. I'd set extra $60 in my pocket, and it took me 15 minutes to do it.
They definitely add up. The low end sales definitely add up. Even if you're only making $5 profit, those they definitely add up over the time.
100%, right? And like even today, like today's a real quiet day for me. I haven't sold any of my higher ticket items. I've just sold like 4 or 5 DVDs. They're all been $10, $9, and they've been listed for a while. Some have been sitting there for 30 days, 60 days. Some have been there for a week. But it's still ticking over. It's still getting more people looking through. And I have found from those smaller ticket items, people then come back the next month and they buy another DVD, right? Or they come back because they see that I'm stocking up with DVDs. And like I said, I'm not going to not get cheap items if I know they're going to sell, or if there's a deal of 600 DVDs and it's like it's cheap as chips. It's like I'm stupid not to, right? Because it's going to enable me to put a bit of a draft bank or get some extra stuff in the store. And it will give me some income on a rainy day, because you're going to always have those low end days anyway, and you're not going to get the big ticket items selling. So, if it sells, I want to be listing it, right?
Yes. And I think a lot of the low end items as well, they quite often have the higher sell through rate. So, quite often you might put them into your store, but hopefully they won't sit around for too long because they are those cheaper, faster moving items.
Yeah. Old Alex having a bit of a fit over here in the chat. Read the fucking chat.
I think Dave's got it right there. The low end bread and butter items, you have to quickly list them and ship them. And I think that's it. You don't want to be selling low end items that you spend ages bubble wrapping and double boxing, and it's like painful. But when you're doing like a simple book that slides into a mailer, and it's very quick to photograph books, DVDs, CDs and stuff, I think is okay to be putting in those items.
100%.
Yeah, I don't sell, I'll sell those $10 DVDs if they go in a bubble mailer. I don't.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to make $5 or $6 off a box set that I have to bubble wrap, put in a satchel, pay shipping on, and all that. I'm not going to bother with it. They go on a marketplace, so just to get rid of them. Give us some DVD tips, Wayne. Buy them and sell them.
It's actually as simple as that, right? I mean, I think the only difference is as long as it's working, someone's likely to buy it, right? Obviously at the right price, but the only way to learn is to list them, and like you'll have so many weird DVDs, and I know this because Wayno, when we caught up, he purchased that French DVD which I would never touch, and he's like, he sold a few before, and he's willing to take that bet, right? And I think that's what you have to be willing to do, is just try those things, because then you'll find those random stuff they do sell, right? And like I said before, if I'm getting a big bulk deal, it's kind of like it's stuff you can put for the store. Obviously, if it's damaged, you don't put it in your store. But if it's all good quality, it's like, what do you got to lose? You've got the listings. Even if you sell half of them, like you're going to still be better off. It's just a no-brainer, really.
Yeah. I mean, I've spoken about this in my videos, so you can probably find some stuff there. But all the common stuff, like all your blockbuster movies, stuff like that, they're just garbage. Just don't worry, don't bother with them. You really want to look for weird stuff, random stuff. There is some popular stuff that is worth money, older popular stuff. Horror goes pretty well, 80s sort of horror, 70s and 80s. I went to a garage sale a few weeks ago, and there was a big stack of opera DVDs, and I think a lot of people wouldn't even look at them, and I just grabbed them straight away. They're like, yes. And I listed them all. It took me way longer than it normally does to list DVDs because they were all in foreign languages. The next day, one of them sold for $40 or something, 45. I've sold a few more for like $20. Like that sort of stuff. Like you can't just go on to Netflix and watch some German opera, or Italian opera. They're just not around. You can't go down to your local shops and just buy them. That's the sort of stuff you really want to look for. I don't personally at the op shops. I don't really look at DVDs much anymore. I just scan it with my eyes. Have a quick scan across them because a lot of them have just been picked through and they're garbage anyway. They're just all blockbusters, most of them. So, but yeah, I find them more at garage sales or on Marketplace, the best place to find DVDs by a mile. I had my biggest week ever this week in sales, beating my previous week ever. Yeah, I saw that on
Instagram. Generally how it
works. Killing it this week, Tobes.
Good job, mate. Good job.
What are the odds? You're the maths nerd, Toby. You tell us. If anyone has any questions for Mel or Chris or the Octopath, as I like to call him.
I have a question for Mel.
Chuck, yeah, go for it.
Mel, do you just have the one store, or do you have a secondary store?
I just have the one at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
I did have secondary stores, but it was hard. I just found it a pain in the butt going in and out and logging in, logging out, or else I'd have to have Chrome open and Firefox open or something. Yeah. I just found that quite a pain. And then the other thing I found really hard was doing inventory, because the inventory, if I was doing a stock take and I had books in one store and books in the other, it just made it really hard to go through and tally up what was on what shelf. And it was just more, for me, it was just another job to have to keep managing all these multiple stores. And I think when I had one of my other stores that I was, at one stage I had 2 main stores kind of going, but I had the virtual assistant who was basically listing in one store only. So when I was using virtual assistant, she started in a fresh store and she just built that store up, and then it became as big as my main store. But then I stopped using virtual assistant, and in the end I felt very confident with the virtual assistant. So she had access to both my stores and she was listing on both of them. And in the end I was just it's too hard. So at the moment, just one store, and I'm just trying to put all the activity I can into that one store to hopefully bring more sales and more activity that way.
Nice.
Yeah, something I've thought about. I have a shed full of VHS tapes, and I haven't listed any for ages because I can't decide whether I should start a new store because there's just so many of them. I don't want them to flood my store, my current store, because I have a lot of repeat buyers come looking for DVDs and video games. So I kind of don't want people to be browsing through my store and have to scroll past all these bloody VHS tapes. So I'm not really sure.
You've got a media store,
yeah.
I think because you've got a media store, it's good. It would be good to combine them. Like, I don't think you need a separate store for that. But if I was you and your main focus is the DVDs, I'd probably still make sure you're listing your same amount of DVDs that you roughly list every day, and then drip feed some of the VHS in as extra. Like, I wouldn't just go and list for a week all VHS and put no DVDs into your store.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds a bit silly to want to split up movies from movies, but I mean, there's like the VHS collectors. Most of them would collect DVDs anyway, but doesn't really go the other way around. Like, it's a lot of DVD collectors.
Do people look through your store though, mate, or do they just search by what they're looking for?
No, they look through.
Yeah, see, I had two stores. I'm winding the second one down, which Chris knows about. But my main store, mate's diversified. So, and I've got, probably 100 sales, 150 sales a week at minimum. So I don't think having a broad mix is going to hurt in the long run.
Yeah, I don't really either, but there's just so many. I've got 1,200 listings at the moment. If I put all those tapes up, there'd be 2,000 of them. So
I'm the same. I've got about 1,900 listed, and it's everything. But I do have my categories that I focus on, like, because they're my bread and butter. They're things that I can quickly flip and sell, right? Which is literally it's books, DVDs, and then video games. But I'll always be putting other things into the store that I know is going to make money. But I do find funny though is that if I have a big haul of DVDs and I double down on them for a week, it's usually the next 2 weeks I'm selling a lot more DVDs, or when you're putting more books, then you're selling more books. So to Mel's point, I think if you do have the ability to keep that diversification into your diverse store, then it will help just keep the different stuff selling, because obviously that's what eBay is bumping or pushing. But at the end of the day, one day I'll sell no DVDs and it's just all toys, or it's someone will go through and just buy all Star Wars stuff, and that could be mugs, it could be clothes, it could be a DVD, right? So there's no right or way to do it. I think the consistency, whether it is your 1, your 5, your 10 or 15 or whatever it is the key point.
Yeah. I think also, like, the more you list in one category, the more you've niched down, the more you list in one category, then eBay kind of puts you more as an expert in that category. And the higher that I don't know if you've ever pulled up your quality listing report, but the higher you rank in your categories, the higher eBay is going to push you up in the algorithm. So for me, like, I rank 7 in Australia for used books. So I'm ranking pretty high. Like, 7 is pretty good. I think there's, I can't remember how many, tens of thousands of booksellers. Do you know what I mean? In Australia. So to rank 7, it means my listings are getting pushed up on those first couple of pages of the eBay search, which is exactly what you want. So, but like on the categories that I've got, like the random items listed in, well, I rank hundreds in those categories, and like I'm not getting pushed to the top in those categories. So the more you focus in your niche, I think eBay puts you more at that expert. Your sell-through rate is higher in that niche, which is going to push you higher up in the search
algorithm. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, Holy Grail movies. I mean, there's heaps of DVDs and VHS horror stuff, but old Aussie TV shows, they're the big ones really for DVDs.
The Cloud's Daughter, go find those.
Yeah, they've actually dropped off a little bit, but they're still good if you find them. But
get them cheap enough.
Country Practice, if you Prisoner. You can find those. You'll be laughing. Blue Healers. Wayno and Woodley. Yeah, quickest $40 you'll ever get if you find the Adventures of Wayno and Woodley. Yeah.
I think because it's media related, you come like media kind of like that's why I don't have a problem putting some DVDs and CDs and stuff into my store. If I'm running out of room here with the books, I'll put some DVDs and CDs in because they take up less space. But I don't want to be putting clothes into my store because I have to change my system then. Like if you have to change your photography system, which you don't, if you do VHS and DVD, it's the same setup. Whereas if you go and take clothes, you have to muck around. I have to move all my table, change the whole setup. Like that throws my workflow out. So I think if you can keep your niche, like so that you don't have to change any of your systems, and VHS and DVD are going to be the same system system for photographing, same for mailing. Like there's nothing much that's going to have to change for that. And you've already got the stock. So I would definitely I would put all that activity into one store.
Yeah. What's a good day or weekly routine to make sure you stay on top of listing? I don't think there's any good day or anything. I think it's every day. I think that's pretty much it. People ask, what's the secret to eBay? It's listing every day.
Having the octopus scream at you.
Yeah. So I don't know what you guys think, but
consistency. It's just consistency, and you have to learn to like manage yourself and manage your own time, and it comes down to time management. But it's all about the consistency, really.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to your own routine and your lifestyle as well, because here we all are. A lot of us are doing stuff on a daily basis, right? But you might not be able to do that, and maybe your daily basis is just getting one new listing per day. I think you need to once again look at and see what is your goal, what do you actually want? Is it that $100 a week or whatever? And then find what works for you to match to that routine, because I don't want to say you have to be doing 15 listings a day if you want to make money on eBay, because there's people doing less than me and they make plenty of money, probably more than me, right? So it's not always going to be just because you do more. Because if you're not putting in good products, you might not sell it, which means you're not, putting in that consistency won't necessarily do anything. So there's a few combinations of, different parameters and factors. I think find what your own routine and flow, and then be consistent with that.
And you'll be consistent. You still have those days. Like eBay is like a roller coaster. Even if you consistently do this, like I will consistently do 30 every single day, and I'll still have some days that are down in the slump. But when I look at my week overall, my week only really ever varies within a couple of $100. So it's fairly consistent. Even though some days are right down, the next day might be right up. So I try and look at mine as a weekly thing and try and be as consistent as I can through that week to get that end of the week total that's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
I am the definition of not consistent. I'm not consistent at all, and it's just because I don't care to be. I don't worry about it too much. Like I'm happy to let 3 or 4 days go past without listing anything. The sales will keep coming for those 3 or 4 days as long as I've listed heaps prior to that. And then I can just pick it up really quickly again. It's only when I stop listing for like 2 weeks that really stuffs me. It takes a while to build. It's like you got to build your trust with eBay back up. So it's kind of like I've been thinking about this a bit lately. Being a reseller on eBay is a bit like playing a role-playing video game.
Okay.
You've got to build up your trust with eBay. You've got to build up all your statistics when you're first starting out with your store and everything. It's crazy, and they're Nazis. eBay are Nazis. Yeah.
I think the thing with eBay is eBay doesn't care about your opinion. Like eBay cares about the facts, and it's you just got to treat eBay like it's a spreadsheet, because that's basically what it is, and enter everything that eBay says it is. And like eBay's like it's like a machine, like a robot. Like that's why half the time when you're speaking to these people, it's like they're like machines almost, because they're just doing like, if they've just got the checklist kind of thing there, and if eBay says yes or no, that's it. So it's really for eBay. They just don't care about your opinions.
It's like keep it simple, stupid in some sense. Like if you follow the process, then you're either, if someone wants your item, they'll buy it, then you're all good kind of thing. That's as lame and short as it can be. So finding that consistency that works for you, and just flow with it, and then adjust. Like if you can do a bit more, if you whatever, then do it. But don't try and compare it to other people in terms of, they're doing 15 and they're getting this much more sales, because Wayno does less than me on a consistent basis, and he's probably getting more than me per week, right? So I think there's huge different factors there.
I think just whatever eBay says they want you to do it. Follow the rules, and you'll hopefully just remain pretty steady.
Yeah, I think just being consistent is the number one thing. Really, it's pretty much there's plenty of things really, but it is the one truly main thing to consistent sales is consistent listing. So, all right, well, I think we might wrap it up here. We're over an hour. Been gas bagging. We're going to unmask the octopus.
Take it off. Take it off.
Surely he hasn't left it on all this time to take it off.
It's me.
Yeah. There we go. The octopus is unmasked.
I lost half my moustache. There we go. I bet you didn't know it was me, did you?
Oh, guys, it's the octopus. I think Mel's like, what's going on?
She's used to it.
Yeah, she's like, okay.
Lucky I know what he looks like underneath.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like an octopus.
Chris doesn't know what he looks like, do you?
I haven't seen him, but it's all right. It's all right. We'll get there.
Right.
We'll get there.
It's not pretty. That's why he's wearing that bloody thing. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Mel. It's been awesome to finally get to chat with you. We've talked a bit through messages, so it's been really good. And Chris and the octopus's
always
first appearance. Yeah, everyone's links are in the description. I always forget to mention that each week, but I'm pretty sure you guys would all follow these guys anyway. Thanks everyone for coming, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.